All right, this next story is in a state I just recently drove through, and that is Utah. Now, what they're saying out in Utah is that Highway 6 is the most deadly in the state. And if you guys know, Highway 6 is the highway that connects basically Salt Lake City to Denver. So if I show you on the map, Salt Lake City is here. You see Denver and I-70. So once you come down 70 through Colorado and get to Utah, over here in Green River, US 6 turns off and connects you to Salt Lake City. So right up in here. So let's see what they're talking about with US 6 out in Utah.
That's why I stopped you.
I know at one time the Highway 6 was in one of the top 10 most deadliest highways in America.
Tonight in a 2 News exclusive, enforcing speed on one of the deadliest stretches of road here in Utah.
Yeah, Brian Schnee, riding along with the Utah Highway Patrol, spoke with the Utah County Sheriff's Office as well, and a trauma surgeon about the injuries and the fatalities related to that stretch of road and what can be done to maybe improve safety on Highway 6.
Highway 6, specifically Spanish Fork Canyon, from the mouth of the canyon in Spanish Fork to Price, well known as a deadly stretch of road when you look at the sheer amount of crashes, many resulting in fatalities. Just last week, a motorcyclist was killed in a collision near the SR6 Highway 89 turnoff. And ultimately, the responsibility on our roads, including this narrow stretch of SR6, falls on anyone who's behind the wheel.
High speeds in this canyon are dangerous.
It seems to be one of the most dangerous stretches of canyon highway that we have in the entire state.
Historical data shows this narrow stretch of road can be unforgiving.
There's a lot of curves, there's a lot of opportunities to have passing lanes. If you're impatient, slow down, back off, keep your distance.
While the same can be said for drivers anywhere, a 29-mile stretch with no median barriers. Head-on collisions are more common.
We see about 2,400 trauma patients a year and about...
Now I will say this, when I drove on this highway, I drove from Salt Lake City last year to Denver. Well, Salt Lake City to Moab first. And I drove on this highway. I did definitely find it odd that they opted to not have a median and just do that center lane, because I'm pretty sure they're talking about right in here. There's Spanish Fork. So yeah, right here as you're going through the canyon, you got a center lane, which I don't see why you have a center lane, because there's not that many places to turn off. It definitely should be some type of median barrier out here. But that's the way they designed it. Yep. So going down this canyon all the way to Price. In some parts there are 2 lanes still. But yeah, definitely not a good design in my opinion. Let's see what else they had to say.
300 to 500 of those are severely injured, have near lethal injuries.
Dr. Dee Millar and his staff at Utah Valley Hospital in Provo frequently treat SR6 crash victims.
I'm seeing patients with...
And they keep saying SR6. That is US 6, not SR6. SR typically means state route. This is a US route.
Brain injuries, complex chest trauma, abdominal trauma, patients that are coming in hemorrhagic shock because they're bleeding in some body compartment.
And I believe right now in the state of Utah, more fatalities happen on Highway 6 in Spanish Fork Canyon than any other highway in Utah.
Distracted driving, driving under the influence, passing illegally in dangerous areas.
When you hear a crash on Highway 6, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
Speed.
He actually got faster. Riding along with Utah Highway Patrol in Spanish Fork Canyon, speed was the top priority.
We actually had a fatality here last winter.
In partnership with Utah Valley Hospital, recently the Sheriff's Office and UHP conducted targeted enforcement on SR6.
As we looked at that data, looked at a couple of areas, what we found was that Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays had the highest number of crashes during the week, And then between about 11 and 3 to 4 p.m. had also the highest value in those days.
According to the Utah Department of Public Safety, from 2020 to July 22nd of this year, nearly 800 crashes on SR6 between mileposts 178 and 220. 21 fatalities in that time frame, with 9 fatalities in 2023 alone. The top factor in the crashes? Speed, at more than 30%. And the top driving contributing factor, failing to keep a proper lane at nearly 23%.
We're seeing speeds in this little project we've been working on, speeds up to 95 miles an hour.
And one thing I'll say about a place like Utah, when you're covering through these canyons and stuff, I think a lot of people underestimate how to drive on these declines, and they do drift in and out of different lanes because you can't drive on these curvy mountain canyon roads like you can on a straightaway. So that's definitely a factor right there.
Maybe even higher.
On a Thursday afternoon in the canyon,
74, we're pulling a trailer coming down the hill.
In a 30-minute span, numerous drivers pushing the speed limit at areas near an intersection with the potential for cross traffic.
So the speed limit dropped to 60 a couple miles back.
Or spots where multiple lanes funnel into a single lane.
We've had big issues in the canyon. We're actually doing some work here focusing on speed, especially this intersection. Like I say, speed limit drops to 60. Only gives you a small time as people turn left in front of you.
Sergeant Thompson has been with UHP for nearly 2 decades.
I have responded to numerous crashes that resulted in either fatalities or serious injuries in this canyon. And each one you look at and say, well, that was preventable.
Yeah, me personally, I think it's a big issue is just the fact that this highway doesn't have a median. You have that center lane, and people just overestimate or underestimate these curves. So US 6 in Utah, be careful if you're out there. And you guys let me know what you think about US 6. What can be done to make this road safer? Because obviously people are speeding for a reason. So it might be something with the design.